Hi, this is Christine Schaffer here to help Wellify your lifestyle. And today I'm going to be talking about fat. Now, most of us get enough fat in our diet, but it's not necessarily the right kind of fat. Yes, not all fat is created equal when it comes to our health. So I'm going to be talking about the importance of a certain kind of fat called omega-3 fatty acids and why that's important to include in our diet. But first I thought it'd be helpful to include a quick breakdown of the different types of fat. Note I'm going to be skipping over trans fat. The FDA actually ruled that fat unsafe to eat a few years ago, and it was supposed to be phased out of our food supply by June of this year. Still a few stragglers, but for the most part it's gone. First, we have saturated fat, which is solid at room temperature and is mostly found in animal products like meat, milk, and cheese. There is a heated debate in the nutrition world about whether saturated fat is good for you or not, but that's a topic for another video. Up next is unsaturated fat. These fats are liquid at room temperature and are mostly found in oils from plants. Under unsaturated fat, we have monounsaturated fat, which you can find in things like avocados, nuts, and olive oil, and polyunsaturated fat, which is the main fat in seafood and is widely found in vegetable oils. And now we get to omega-3s, which are a polyunsaturated fat. There are different types of omega-3 fatty acids, including ALA, EPA, and DHA, which I'll talk about a little later, but I'll keep it broad for right now. In general, seafood is the best source, but you'll also find it in grass-fed animal products and certain plant sources, mainly seeds. Omega-6 fatty acids are another type of polyunsaturated fat and are mostly found in processed seed and vegetable oils, such as corn, sunflower, and soybean oils. So here's the deal, because vegetable oils are in so many of our processed foods, we get way more omega-6 than omega-3 fatty acids in our diet. The average American eats a ratio somewhere between 12:1 and 25:1, when it should be closer to 4:1. Some experts even suggest a ratio of around 1:1 is ideal. One problem with this uneven ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids is that it leads to inflammation, which, as I talked about in my blog post on anti-inflammatory foods, can lead to increased risk of chronic diseases, including heart disease. In fact, the distorted ratio of these fatty acids may just be one of the most damaging aspects of the Western diet. Most people are eating foods that are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids and not nearly enough of the foods that contain those healthy omega-3s. And one of the reasons that we need sufficient omega-3 fatty acids is that it's needed for healthy brains and nerve cells, because our brains are nearly 60% fat. So fatty acids, particularly the EPA and DHA forms of omega-3s, are crucial for maintaining normal brain function, which is why omega-3s are so closely connected to our mental health, which you'll see on the following list. So if you need more convincing as to why you might want to up your intake of omega-3s in your diet, here's a long list of health benefits. I'm not going to read through them all because I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, but feel free to pause the video to read through the list. So that's a lot of information. So now what can you do about it? One of the best things that you can do to balance out your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is to avoid processed seed and vegetable oils and the foods that contain them. Check the ingredient labels on any packaged foods you buy, and if you see it was made with sunflower, corn, soybean, or cottonseed oil, think twice about purchasing it. And definitely don't use those oils to cook with. Instead, go with butter, coconut oil, lard, and olive oil, which are much lower in omega-6. A second tip is to eat animal foods high in the EPA and DHA form of omega-3s. Eat seafood once or twice a week. Fatty fish like salmon are a great source, and it's important to note that wild-caught are much higher in omega-3s than farm-raised. For lower mercury levels, go with wild Alaskan salmon. Other sources include mackerel, herring, oysters, sardines, anchovies, and caviar. Other animal meat is an issue because most animals today are fed grain-based feeds that contain soy and corn, which reduce the omega-3 content. It's a little more pricey, but if you can swing buying grass-fed meat, it's going to be better for that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. For the same reason, try to buy pasture-raised eggs. A third way to improve that ratio is to eat some plant sources of omega-3s, including flax and chia seeds, walnuts, and Brussels sprouts. Now, this isn't going to do as much for you as eating the animal sources because plant sources contain the omega-3 type ALA, and the human body isn't quite as efficient at converting it into the active forms of EPA and DHA. And finally, if you eat a lot of conventionally raised meat and or don't eat a lot of seafood, you might want to consider a fish oil supplement. And if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, there are vegan-friendly supplements that contain EPA and DHA from algae. I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully you're walking away from this video with some helpful tips on how to help balance out that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, which is going to give you that long list of health benefits that I went through earlier. That is all for now. I hope to see you back next time for more tips on how to help Wellify your lifestyle. Bye.